Hello, hello, and welcome back to another edition of the Wildside chat. Today we're going to be talking about Berry Bell. So Berry Bell is the first card that we are covering that is part of a base deck. So this is part of the Shademancer's base deck, meaning you will get it in your opening deck, and then you will not see it in any treasures, shops, gnome travelers, things like this. And it reads, increase health by 1 barrage. And this is very different than, of course, the keyword restore. Increase health is a form of proactive mitigation in the form of healing by increasing both the current and max HP by 1. This allows things to then get damaged and healed up to that new max HP, which can be important, and also increases some of the 1 HP targets up to 2, which can be useful in cases for Shademancer, specifically with things like Shade Wisp or other summons that are killing themselves basically slowly by attacking. So I would say the biggest thing to think about with this card is Cake Charm. This card by itself is pretty meh. It's basically like a 3 potential HP addition when you don't have much else to do. Sometimes you're just having a waiting turn, and this can be useful. Maybe you want to wait until the next turn to let the guys in. You don't want to hit the bell. You might as well use this Berry Bell, or you have one turn left on your redraw bell, and the turn is sort of free. So this can be a good case here. But when you find Cake Charm and turn this into increase HP by 6 barrage, this suddenly becomes one of the most powerful cards that you can get. This can single-handedly solve your defensive problems. This can give 18 HP in that case, which is nuts. And then you can Lumen Vase this or Crit Charm this, put a crown on it, and suddenly you're getting 12 to 18 HP per target, which is insane. You're not going to always get this. When you're Shademancers, you're not going to always see Cake Charm, of course. But you should be on the lookout for Cake Charm for this exact card. Because this card, I would say, goes from pretty meh, just kind of there, does some things early, to one of the most important defensive cards that you can get as Shademancers, which is pretty nuts. I would say without Cake Charm, however, you can put like Lumen Ring, Lumen Base on it, but I'd say it gets less value than some other things because its base value is 1. When you double, low base values, you obviously reap fewer rewards for those. So I would say I'm generally putting resources onto different cards outside of Cake Charm. And of course, if you have Cake Charm, feel free to dump resources into this because then it becomes very, very powerful. Obviously, the big key there is that the base value is getting increased substantially from the Cake Charm, and therefore any multipliers are going to be fantastic with it. Anyway, so there's honestly not much to think about here. I think I've covered most of what I want to talk about. I think the key distinction, of course, and we talked about this quite a bit with Berry Basket, the key distinction is increase HP by 1 versus restore. Increase HP by 1 is much more flexible, much more proactive. You can save this health for later. And Berry Bell also, importantly, can increase your summons health so that they don't kill themselves. And this happens a lot with Shade Wisp and other summons that would otherwise die, and which is probably why it's in the Shademancer base deck. And when we're thinking about these cards, it's nice because normally when you're talking about other cards that aren't in base decks, you are considering the opportunity cost of taking these cards. Obviously, this is not true for Berry Bell because there aren't really alternatives. This is set in stone. But the one thing to think about is whether or not you want to munch this. So typically, Shademancers is strange because Tarblades are a little bit less interesting to remove because they lose more value the fewer Tarblades that are in your deck. So sometimes if you need backline damage and you've already seen a Cake Charm but weren't able to take it for whatever reason, that's how you know that charm is no longer in the pool of charms to get. And then you can maybe consider removing this if it's not providing as much value as Tarblades could. Also, you could remove Junjun Mask. That's completely viable. There are definitely games where Junjun Mask doesn't have a space to work with or really isn't important. So those are cases where you might remove Jun Mask, but since this is about Berry Bow, I'd say generally don't remove it if you haven't seen the Cake Charm, but you can consider it if you already have a defensive solution, or you've already seen a Cake Charm. So that about sums it up for Berry Bell. It's a card. That's about it. I hope you enjoy. Feel free to leave feedback, things you agree, disagree with, interactions I may have missed. But I think I just want to drill in one last time. Cake Charm, Cake Charm, Cake Charm, Cake Charm, Cake Charm, Cake Charm. Excellent. Otherwise, all right, thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.